And basically, if you look at it from this perspective, it all boils down to what's your relationship to letting go. Because that's the one thing we don't really know anything about death, really. Like there's some assumptions, everybody has some ideas, but it's also a big mystery. Like there is, of course, teachings from cultures like the Tibetans who explored that very profoundly. And still, at the end of the day, you don't know. And that means you need to let go into something that you don't know. So it means like letting go of something, letting go of ideas, concepts, and letting go of control. And that is a big part of, that's half of our nervous system's job, to also let go. Like there is the job that it has by activating ourselves, by mobilizing, by preparing us for surviving, by doing something, by getting control and grip on things, the activating part, like the activity part of life. And then there is it's like your in breath, you take it in and you orient and do stuff. And then how long can you hold your in breath for? I mean, you can try it, goes a while. And then the moment will come, you'll have to let go. And it's a simple physiological process that we all do all the time. And it's an aspect of life that goes all the way down to the experience of death, or what we call death. Because death is not something that happens, that will happen one day in maybe decades down the line or whenever it will come. It's an experience right now. So like there's a small death process happening right now. Like there are cells being formed and there are cells dying right now in your system. And if they don't die, you have a problem like pretty immediately. If you don't breathe out, you pretty immediately have a problem. So it's for the continuation of life, dying in the sense of letting go, of breathing out, of letting things complete and also let go and lose form, is for the continuation of life absolutely necessary. So there's a much bigger experience of life, of existence, that includes the cycle of life and death, that includes even our experience of our lifetime of life and death. But we don't have very much often a perspective where our life is taking place in. We feel our life is the only time frame of existence. And then, of course, I'm like, oh my God, I'm here now. It's going to end, and I'll have to make the most of it. And it's also good. But then what? So again, like then you said, like in a way, it creates this idea of I have to defend myself, prolong as much as possible that moment to come. And we got very good at it to some degree, extending lifespan, extending quality of life, and maybe even investigating how we can push it even further into maybe hundreds of years. And maybe we'll do that as human beings, to extend lifespan for a very long time. But we will not avoid that point. You can freeze yourself and like use all technology and wait for 100,000 years or 2 million years or whatever it is, but it will not alter the fact that at one point something else will happen a bit. Like it's just not going to change the deeper radical reality of life. It's just bending and playing with the time frame. And so we don't have to wait for death to happen, like the big physiological let go. We have a relationship to it right now all the time. And that comes back to what you said with the nervous system. Like our nervous system has experiences of how it feels to take in life and to let go of life from day one. And also what we inherited already from our ancestors. So if letting go is not an experience in my nervous system that feels that is connected to safety or well-being, because actually it's nice to let go. It's like breathing out after the work has been done. It's like sitting into a chair. It's like relaxing into the arms of the beloved. It's like letting go is great. But for many people or for parts of ourselves, letting go often is not safe, and it doesn't feel like something that I want to do. It's more, it's felt maybe unsafe or unheld, uncared, or becoming vulnerable, being attacked, being wounded, being shamed, criticized, like the whole experience of life. And we need to learn to brace, which means hold on to and not let go. And so if that is my kind of like wiring, or more my wiring in my nervous system, then, and plus a lack of a kind of a philosophical or existential orientation that says this is the life you got and there is nothing bigger that holds this, then we're in trouble, because all I know is to hold on and to see how I can extend that. And so I will also not fully live. I will only live half, like in half of my capacity. And there is like medical research and psychological research, and probably in every domain that tells us very clear, like if we're not able to let go, there is very little chance for innovation and for renewal. And so more and more we will feel exhausted, burned out, unnourished, and afraid, because the inevitable will always happen. It always will happen. But it doesn't mean that it will happen against us. It only means that we cannot control life, but we can build a relationship to it. Just this very moment, I can start learning to relax into my out breath.